wasn't expecting myself to feel any form of sorrow or empathy with Syril Karn, a character that came off as a creepy incel that was displeased with his current situation all throughout Season 1 of Andor. In Season 2, Syril had an unexpected level of character growth since the fiasco at Ferrix. Still mixed with the wrong people, but he'd matured in a way. Or a better way to put it, he was given an opportunity to see the truth, and he saw the truth, even if it was too late for him. His death was tragic, but a fitting end for the character of Syril Karn. From start to finish, Syril's character arc is a tale of tragedy, a well-written tale of tragedy. So I thought. After the 8th episode, Who Are You? Aired, an interview was conducted with one of the curators of Andor about the recent episode. He gave some insight about Syril's final moment that, frankly, ruined it. An explanation to Syril's thinking during that crucial moment that robs Syril of any value. This unfortunate insight, along with his story, spins a tale of woe. A perfectly executed character soured by commentary. This is the tragedy of Syril Karn.
They lie to you, GI. You know you cannot win this war. Your rich leaders grow richer while you die in the swamp, GI. They will give you a medal, GI, but only after you are dead. Your government lies to you every day, poor soldier. You have lost this war, GI. Your army will leave you behind. Imperialists make you fight this war, GI. They do not care about you. GI, your government has betrayed you. You will not return for you. GI, your airplanes bomb your own men. You are not safe here. The skies are dangerous, GI.
Let's first talk about Syril's journey through the events of Andor, where tragedy was purposefully written within the story. It's important to note that Syril's story perfectly parallels real-world events, which Andor does often and does so well. Syril Karn is a disgruntled man who wants to prove himself. His ambition to rise through the ranks to make a difference in the galaxy. Unfortunately, his want leads him down the path with the wrong entities that oppress the people, promising stability through order. But thanks to Cassian's actions, Syril gets fired from his job as a cop and is left to live with his mother and working at a seemingly dead-end job. It's safe to say Syril at this point in his life is unhappy with his life and the state of the galaxy. Again, this story is a parallel to the men we see wearing MAGA hats, marching through the streets with tiki torches, or worse. These men are angry, lost, confused, longing for purpose. And the sad part is, men of bad faith see these men in need and provide them with what they need, so they listen to the lies and propaganda that will shape these men into tools of ruination. These sorts of tactics help form culture wars. While we're too busy fighting with each other, we lose focus on the real problem, the man on top. The people who want to get away with atrocities, but can only get away with it if the common man is divided. In the case of Star Wars, the Empire, in its infancy, needs to spread lies to keep their true intentions hidden from the public eye. Something Syril sees firsthand. A deep, unfathomable realization, making him sick to the core. Let's get back to Syril's story. An obsession grew within Syril, a great need to capture Cassian. For if he's the one to take down Cassian, not only would he have Imperial favor, he would also win over the girl that he may or may not be stalking. Cassian, unknown to him, has become Syril's purpose, his ticket to a better life. Ironically, while he failed to capture Cassian at the Ferrix confrontation, he still managed to get all that he wanted. The girl in a better position at his job. But the Empire wasn't quite through with Syril. Dedra, an ISB officer and Syril's girlfriend, decided to use Syirl to spy on a rebel cell on Gorman. Syirl, of course, accepted full-heartedly, but he had no idea he was being played. The Empire needed an excuse to extract calcite from the planet Gorman, so they needed the rebels at Gorman to act violently. Syirl, on the other hand, thought he was spying on the Gormans so as to gain intel on outside agitators that would incite violence within Gorman. Syirl did his part. He continued to have purpose, and he was happy, ignorant to what was happening in the background. This blissful ignorance wouldn't last long for Syirl as his eyes began to open up and see the full story. A confrontation with Dedra exposed everything. He wasn't there to help the Gormans, he was there to help screw them over. All the pieces were coming together, especially after Syirl was witness to the Gorman massacre and seeing the news outlets twisting the events to the masses as they unfold in favor for Imperial propaganda. At that very horrifying point, Syirl could have left and come to the conclusion that he'd helped the Empire in framing the Gorman people as savages. Syirl might have walked out still alive, but within the chaos and death, he saw Cassian taking aim at Dedra. Cassian, the man that simultaneously took and gave everything to Syirl. Confrontation was inevitable. Wrath fell upon Cassian as Syirl fought with all his strength. Fists were exchanged, blood traded, teeth gnashing. All the while the Gorman people were being slaughtered. But Syirl won the exchange, holding a bewildered Cassian at gunpoint. He could have easily shot him and ended this years-long manhunt for Cassian, but he didn't. He hesitated. Hesitation inviting clairvoyance to the situation. He was in the wrong. The evil that he thought he was helping stop turned out to be people trying to liberate themselves from an oppressive empire hell-bent to bring its people to heel, using any tactic necessary to bring total domination. Before he could reconcile fully with his actions, he was shot in the head, ending his life. Syirl gave his life to an empire that had no interest in his well-being. They asked for everything of Syirl, and in return, the empire would give him purpose and prosperity. His dreams to make a difference, his aspirations to be more than just a desk jockey, only led him to be in bed with a monster. The tragedy here is Syirl gave his life away to the wrong cause. The final thoughts in his mind before dying was the blood on his hands. The blood of the innocent Gormans led to slaughter. He cannot be excused for this. The choice was entirely his to make. Yet some sympathy should be parted. He, like many others, were fooled into playing the Empire's cruel game. And for that, Syril's punishment was death. No heroic redemption, no time for more reflection, just endless silence. That is his tragic redemption. Let's go back to the scene where Syirl had Cassian at gunpoint. When Syirl gained the advantage by grabbing the blaster and pointing it to Cassian, he holds his gaze on Cassian as he catches his breath. Cassian has no idea who this guy is or why he's attacking him. That's why he was so confused while he was wrestling Syirl for the gun. Cassian looks at Syirl and says, "Who are you?" Syirl doesn't respond. He only stares into Cassian's dark brown eyes until he points the blaster away slowly. Before anything else could happen, Syirl gets shot in the back of the head. This moment, I believed, was a defining moment for Syirl. Humanity had returned to something that was built up to be of monstrous proportions. Syirl now understood that Cassian was just a man who had no idea who Syirl was. Because of this unfamiliarity, in Syril's mind, he was about to gun down someone random off the streets. Again, it was coming full circle. The realization that what Syirl was doing here was wrong. I don't think Syirl flipped immediately on the rebels' side. If anything, he could have let Cassian go and be on his way out, still believing the rebels are the problem in some way, but understanding that there is a problem with the Empire. Corruption, like at his old job as a cop. Yet here we have Tony Gilroy, the director of Andor, give an explanation to Syril's death in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. Quote, "It's so elementally Greek and dramatic. That thing that you've based your life on doesn't even recognize you. Everything that he's constructed for himself doesn't even have any awareness of him. I think he's just stunned. He can't even breathe at that point. There's the guy that ruined my life and I was chasing for 4 years. And I'll be like this raccoon in a relentless fight, and I'll be able to kill him. And then, oh my God, he doesn't even know who I am." It seemed like the absolute essential summation of poor Syril's life. So in this moment, he was more concerned about ego. Ego? Really? With the development we've received from Season 2, do you really think at the very end he was more concerned about ego? What a waste of potential. Here's one of those moments where I wish the director would have just kept his explanation to himself. Granted, there's nothing stopping me from disregarding Tony's lame explanation, but to carry on with my opinion of what that moment meant will be difficult knowing there's a definitive reason, a definitive answer. The tragedy here is the ego explanation takes Syril's story in Season 2 and makes it less impactful. Andor seemingly created the perfect ending for Syirl, but ruined it with Tony's explanation. If Syirl would have died for the same reason back in Season 1, then it would have been less egregious. In fact, preferable, if anything. But taking the realization of the Empire's evil doings and then giving that terrible explanation as why he didn't shoot Cassian just waters down Syirl as a character. In the end, instead of getting an interesting character with a sad story leading towards his demise, we get a boring, two-dimensional character that was meant to be cast aside at the convenience of the writers. Tragic. Twice Syirl got screwed over. Screwed over by the Empire, and screwed over by the director. Syril Karn, you were robbed from having a fitting end to your journey as a character. Rather than your guilt, the revelations made on that day, your humanity stopping you from shooting Cassian, it was the disbelief that he didn't know you. Your childish ego saved Cassian. What a shame.